Okay, if you had one conversation with me, then you have heard of this woman that I'm about to share with you. You have heard of how much she has just impacted my life and how much her books have really helped me. And so now I want to come and bring something to you guys that I think would really be impactful. So without further ado, here is Brene Brown's Rules for Self-Love.
Gratitude and joy. The courage to be vulnerable enough to really feel grateful and joyful will always trump scarcity. You know, we live in a culture of scarcity. We live in a culture of never enough. You can fill in the blanks. Never good enough, skinny enough, rich enough, popular enough, never bestseller enough, never blah blah enough, never enough Twitter followers, never enough. Never enough. Never enough. And what's interesting is there's only, in the research what I found, there's only one way out of scarcity, and that is enoughness. At some point, we need to just say, enough. I'm enough. What I'm doing is enough.
I love in the TEDx talk, I think it was a TEDx talk, where you talk about the original definition of courage. Can you share that?
Yeah.
I love that.
I do too. It's from the Latin word cur, meaning heart. And so the original definition was to share all of yourself, share your whole story with your whole heart. And so an act of courage was an act of storytelling, which I think is true. The question I think that drives my work is really, what is the struggle? What is our struggle with believing that we're enough? How does that play into the bigger cultural picture? What are the messages and expectations that fuel this sense that we have to be perfect, that we're not allowed to be vulnerable? It's about waking up in the morning and saying, you know, no matter what gets done and how much is done and how it's done, I'm enough and I'm worthy of love and belonging and joy. I think wholeheartedness, the entire idea of wholeheartedness, is about engaging with the world from a place of worthiness. The most life-changing is that vulnerability is the center of difficult emotion, but it's also the birthplace of every positive emotion that we need in our lives. Love, belonging, joy, empathy. I think there's like a thin film of terror wrapped around us. And so if it's not, I'm not safe enough, or I'm not secure enough, it's I'm not liked enough, I'm not promoted enough, I'm not loved enough.
I don't have enough.
I don't have enough.
I am not enough.
At the very bottom,
Yeah.
I'm not enough.
Yeah. Whoa, that's big, 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 big. Somebody ring some bells. We need some bells to ring on this show. But that's
No,
good.
that's it. And so guess what the number one casualty is of a scarcity culture?
What?
Vulnerability.
We shut down.
We shut down.
Because I'm not going to let you know.
No, because I'm
that
already scared.
I'm not
Right.
all together.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is that people are like, oh, well, we lose a little vulnerability. But vulnerability is not just about fear and grief and disappointment. It's the birthplace of everything we're hungry for.
Creativity.
Joy, creativity, faith, love.
Innovation and
Yeah.
all of that, yes.
And the whole thing is there is no innovation and creativity without failure. Period.
So you got to be open enough to take the risk to fail.
Yeah. Pandora's Box is closed right now. But are you under the impression that you're living outside of the box or in the box?
Yeah, I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to open Pandora's Box, because that's strange to me, because you're living inside Pandora's Box. And what I feel like you've asked me to come here to open it up. Like, we're not going to do this process without walking through some deep shit. There's going to be deep, swift water. And if the water's super deep and swift, you need to go through that with a therapist. Trauma, disappointment, hell, hard stuff. We armored up. And at some point, that armor no longer serves us. And it's not protecting you, it's keeping you from being seen and known by others. The armor is keeping you from growing into the gifts I've given you. That is not without penalty. Time is up. So this is what you see happen to people in midlife. And it's not a crisis. It's a slow, brutal unraveling. And this is where everything that we thought protected us keeps us from being the partners, the parents, the professionals, the people that we want to be. Talk to yourself like you talk to someone you love when you're feeling unworthy. How would I talk to Ellen and Charlie in a moment of unworthiness? I would say to myself, God, you're so stupid, Brene. What were you thinking? I would never talk to my kids that way. Talk to yourself like you talk to someone you love. Reach out to someone you trust and tell your story. Shame cannot survive being spoken. So here's the secret. When perfectionism is driving, shame is always riding shotgun. We struggle with perfectionism in areas where we feel most vulnerable to shame. Does that make sense? So we're all comfortable saying, yeah, I'm a little perfectionistic, which is code for like I do things really well. But I'm not comfortable saying I have shame. But perfectionism, what is that? I call it the 20-ton shield. Here's what perfectionism really is. It's a way of thinking that says this: if I look perfect, live perfect, work perfect, I can avoid or minimize criticism, blame, and ridicule.
Whoa, that's good.
All perfectionism is the 20-ton shield that we carry around hoping that it'll keep us from being hurt. When in truth, what it does is it keeps us from being seen. So healthy striving is internally focused. It's I want to do this and be the best I can be. Perfectionism is not about what I want. Perfectionism is exactly what will people think. So the thing is, you can't ever do anything brave if you're wearing the straitjacket of what will people think. I don't think there is an affect or an emotion more difficult to fully embrace than joy. You know, if you sit up in bed alone and think, oh, work's going well, everything's going great with my girlfriend, I can pay the rent, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, crap, with, disasters coming, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Just stop and say, I'm grateful. I don't know what's gonna happen in 10 minutes when I get up, but right now I'm super grateful. And that's the key to vulnerability and joy. It's so hard. I thought doing this research, going into it, there were authentic people and inauthentic people. Mm-hmm. I did not find any evidence of that at all. What I found is authenticity is a practice, and you choose it every day, sometimes every hour of every day. And it's a practice. It's not, I just wake up and, hey, I'm authentic. It's that when you walk into a meeting, you have to make the choice. Am I gonna show up and let myself be seen? Am I gonna raise my hand and say, wow, y'all look super excited. I don't know what in the hell you're talking about. I'm so lost. That's a choice.
Yes,
Right? Mm-hmm. And make that authentic choice, you gotta let go.
You better love you, 'cause there's nobody who can love you like you do. There's someone in the mirror